Okay, that should be better. Okay, yeah, so this is what is this? No. Oh, so this is the second video. Okay, so welcome back. Today's video is going to be about when someone you love has just traveled. So I'm going to be also I don't know why I can't speak straight. We're gonna start over. So I'm gonna be reading from a notepad again, just to kind of keep me on track because my mind is a little bit, you know, here, there, and everywhere. Let me make sure you hear me. Okay, but yeah. So y'all should still be able to hear me. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day. And yeah, let's get into it. Basically, they didn't leave, their role just shifted, kind of like the dove that I mentioned, but instead of just changing skin suits, they changed roles from like family member to ancestor, or like, parent to angel, friend to spirit guide, whatever you want to call it. So if you've lost someone and your chest feels heavy and your mind feels everywhere, thoughts looping, time seems to be flying or even warped or like slowing down and whatnot. And also, people and places and things start to feel more distant and not as accessible, even though they're in the same spot that they were in, before this situation occurred, this type of situation occurred. You're not crazy, you're in a sort of sacred ceremony where you should give that allowed time, that space, that silence, that stillness, a chance to kind of speak to you, because it's a new way that you're going to have to adapt to. It's something new that, like, again, I'm only speaking from experience because I'm actually going through it right now. With all of the things going on around me, I still am very aware of the fact that I'm going to have to acknowledge that space where this person is missing as something else, right? I don't know exactly what it's going to be. It may be different for everybody. You can have a good idea of it. You've heard other people have their versions of it, but for ourselves, it's different depending on who it is, what note we left off on. Blase, blase, XYZ. I want to start off by saying, before I get into like the 3 points that I have for today's video, I want to start off by saying that you should forgive yourself for if you feel that you didn't do enough, or that you didn't say enough, or that you didn't act when you should have acted, or showed up how you should have showed up, you feel you should have showed up. Not to say that those things aren't true, but the time has passed, the window of opportunity has passed, so there's nothing you can do about it. It's not that it's right or wrong, it's just there's no reason to beat yourself up for it going into the future, especially now that this person is no longer here. It's one of those things that you just kind of like have to, you can give yourself a clean slate in a way. They understand, trust me, they understand now more than ever. And as you come across videos like this, you'll understand that it's not something that's worth holding on to on top of all of the other, waves of feelings that you're going to experience. I was feeling the experience of like pain a little bit the other day, and I'm like, I couldn't imagine if, like I also felt regret, or if I let myself fall into that like guilt trip kind of mode I wanted to fall into, when getting ready for the funeral, or eating, or even when, like I said, I graduated the day before the funeral and I had to walk the stage, and it was like I felt like I was like doing something so terrible. And in reality, it's just like, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was just me continuing on living my life how I should, but it just felt like someone or something was missing. And that space, the reason I said all of that, that space, that openness that you feel, that kind of hole that you feel, that's the sacred ceremony. It's the, where we give the moment of silence, where you send a little prayer up, where that you give your, dedications or devotions to, say your scriptures, or show up for yourself, so that you know that you're present, so that you can pull yourself back to the present moment, but also being available to um, speak with your family, your spirit guides, your angels, your ancestors, however you want to call it. But yeah, So let's get into our points for today. So for point number one, death creates silent, sacred, not empty. That stillness is space where energy now lives. The message is there, just slower, softer. You have to listen differently now. So basically, for that point, it's kind of like what I was just talking about, like being able to be still enough, sit still enough to where you are, yes, uncomfortable. Yes, this is fairly new. I can't see myself. I forget where I just left off. Yeah, so basically, it's the same thing, kind of similar to what I was talking about in the last video, but also different. It's not so much just the form that's changed, because I mean, obviously, yeah, the form's changed. There's no longer any flesh, but now it's more of like their language has changed as well. It's almost like if you were to change, like I use the example of a bird from a human to an animal. Grr. Okay, this is the third take. Let's get through this video, okay, guys? Oh, that's so cute. Love birds. Okay, yeah. So I don't want to talk fast. Let's do this. So basically, there's going to be a new language. There's going to be a new way that you're going to have to listen. You're going to have to keep an ear out. You're going to have to listen on a new wavelength, on a new vibration, on a new, just everything. Oh my God, I got a little discombobulated from all the phone calls. But, and all the, technical difficulties. But we're okay. We're good. We're good, right? Yeah. Right. Anywho, so yeah, we're just gonna have to listen differently. I know that there are many different ways that people can reach out to us from the afterlife or from traveling, crossing over. That can be through music, through animals, through the elements, through babies, through and other people. I feel like other adults as well, if they're susceptible to that. A lot of people are vibrating at a point that is for it's almost too low. I feel like for communication, I feel like that's why readers or conduits or people like that are so scarce in comparison to the masses, is because it's not as normalized as per se alcohol or some of the normal things that we're used to as a society, being a conduit or being a vessel to be spoken through, to even speak to your past on loved ones is kind of far fetched. But I believe that that is something that exists. And I believe that, if we're going to say God created us in his image and that we are made of God and God speaks to us through others, why wouldn't that be the case? And when it comes to trying to receive a message or trying to convey a message or even just being the message. Forgive I am saying I'm catching myself, but I am actively working through this as well. And I don't have, a bunch of people that I had to go to with something like this. So I'm doing this also on camera. And I keep like, I don't want to do this. I do want to do it, and I'm doing it, and that's the whole, like, it doesn't matter that I don't want to. I can do hard things. I'm gonna do it even when I don't feel like doing it, because this is something that I know that I'm let to do. It's not, there's no feeling in it. It is not really an option. Failure is not an option regardless, but especially when it comes to something like this, like I keep getting, signs of throat chakra block. Boom, I'm gonna talk. It doesn't make sense for me not to. I need to practice that if I'm going to be on a stage someday speaking to hundreds, maybe thousands of people. So I would think that this is a good place to start. And I hope that, you understand. I think you would. So for point two, you're not just grieving them, you're grieving the you that existed when they were here. Their absence is rearranging your identity. You are no longer the version of you that once was. That can be strange because you're also grieving that you as well. So not only did the person pass, or the person who's now traveling, I had someone actually speak at my neighbor spoke at his funeral, and they said that in their tradition, he's African, I believe, they refer to it as traveling, and I like that idea because it's basically what it is. He's just on a journey. He's somewhere else. He's in another universe that we just aren't familiar with. We gotta die to go there, so I'll wait. yeah, he's traveling on this journey, and that them, of course, is abruptly just snatched because we don't know when, but also the version of us that existed. And what gets me the most in videos, in posting videos, I feel like this is kind of off a little bit, but it is still on brand, is the idea that we get on here and talk about these different topics, but like my mind right now wants to give a solution to how to deal with that. Like I'm pointing it out, but I also want to give the solution. And that would just kind of make a really thick video. But I can see myself being that type of person to be more hands on or sit down with someone one on one to help get a more personalized plan together to help them, get through something like this or whatever the case may be. Because you can apply most principles to most things. Well, you can apply universal principles to most everything. You apply it to everything. So once you know certain principles, once you have certain habits and certain beliefs, a lot of things don't feel as heavy. You rely more on your own knowledge or like uh, confidence in a way. Like you're more confident within yourself, within the knowing of, even if I don't know what's going on, I don't know why it happened, I know that I have myself and I'm going to continue on in whatever direction that may be, negative or positive. But yeah, I've noticed that I want to kind of give more, and I know that people are thinking like that as well. Like I want more, but I'm gonna have to take it a video at a time. But I feel like I have the personality type to post like a video every day, or like, which I write every day. I express myself daily, but like this, saying it out loud, I'll have these type of conversations with people, and they're like, "But you're the one, you lost the person." I'm like, "I know, but this helps me. This makes me feel better. This is allowing me to express myself in the way that I need to express myself, with a kind of practical way to go about dealing with something that is so heavy and so prevalent. It's the most popular thing, it's the biggest business, yet it's so painful and taboo, and we don't know how to deal with it. We don't know how to, go about it. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm making this video. I don't care who it is. You could be my worst enemy. And I feel like it's because we're all human, and at the end of the day, like I personally know why we're here. I don't care. Anyone can watch this and learn how to deal with themselves and manage themselves and handle themselves at a time like this. If I can, you can, basically, is what I'm saying. You are capable, and you can do all things through whatever you allow to strengthen you, i.e., God or whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in. But it starts with you. God can give you all the strength you want. God can send you all the water you want when you're, dehydrated and thirsty. But if you don't drink it, then what's the point? God could be sending me with a bucket of water to you, and here I am bringing it. And if you don't drink it, then what's the point? So it starts with you regardless. You are the thing that you are the thing that makes the movement in this case, right? You are the harnessing of the energy. The energy's there, it doesn't die, it doesn't go nowhere. And you are made up of a lot of energy, really mainly energy, but you're the everything. You have to tap into all those parts of yourself to get to where you're trying to go. Back on track to what I was saying. Basically, your reality has now been jumbled up. You're not the same as you once were. You're not the same version of you that you once were. You're quite literally a different you. I'm quite literally a different me. I can see it already. I see the changes. I see my attitude changing. I see my personality changing. I see my patience, my love, my everything. Everything has changed, and I've cried, I've laughed, I've been mad, I've been happy. I've had all the array of emotions, intentionally and non-intentionally. And I believe this point, like, which is point number 2, I believe, is just a matter of getting through that initial kind of realization, like, oh, like, oh, I can't reach out and call them. They're not here. I can't reach, or the area that they're in, because they're not here in my country anymore, but the area that they're in doesn't accept phone calls from, the United States of America. It doesn't accept phone calls from where I'm at. And that's how I'm trying to think of it, rather than like, oh my God, it's just like, dead end where I'll never get to speak to them again. Like, I've already spoken to him, we're communicating. It's just not the same. And I feel like being sad about it, so sad, so deep in sadness, that you take away from the beauty and the magnificence and the magic that is surrounded with traveling or transitioning. I mean, I know it, like, I had a friend be like, it's kind of weird, how you're not, how you're responding, but you're talking to someone who's beyond, has endured beyond trauma. It is, I believe that it put me in a kind of a perspective or a mind frame of been there, done that in a way. So it doesn't really hurt as bad. Like, I've died personally multiple times, let alone grieving those versions of myself my whole life. Like, I believe that plays a big part in why I respond to things like. But at the same time, it's not to say that I'm not sad, which is why I come on here, because, like, yeah, you can be sad and still move on with your life. You can be sad and show up in the world and not be, a butthole because you lost someone that you love dearly, or because you lost a version of yourself that, you know you were really familiar with, and now you don't know who you are anymore. Get to learn yourself, get to know yourself, get to know this new you, baby this new you, hug this new you, take this new you out, give this new you something to do other than to sit and ponder and be sad and grieve in the way that, society teaches you, well, really doesn't teach you, but lets you grieve. And so they're gonna let you do what you want to do. You have free will, so they're not gonna tell you don't do that, don't do this, don't self-deprecate, don't ruin your life because of this. And then it's almost, it falls into the line of natural selection. I also have a hard time, not a hard time, but I debated make even getting on YouTube for a long time, because I'm like, people are gonna do what they want to do anyways. But that's the thing. People do what they want to do based off of what they know. And if they don't know something because someone didn't teach them or because somebody didn't speak up about it, then whose fault is that? We can easily say it's their fault, but at the same time, if you trace it back, what if you could have been the point or the pivot for that person? I guess you'll never know until you show up, right? And I get why people are like, even if it's just one person, even if it's just, I get it. Because, yeah, even if it is just one person. And before I've even touched being online, it has been more than one person. I've been verbally told that. So if I can do that for somebody in real life and my physical reality, then what can I do for not only myself, but for anyone or someone in a whole other country who has never seen someone like me, heard someone like me, experienced someone like me, view life the way that I view life? I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. I think that is pretty cool, not only because I'm doing it, but because I've actually experienced it, where there are people from across the country, from across the world, that, we connect on a level that's like otherworldly. And I don't know, it's just amazing to me. I think it's a really amazing thing. And, on the topic of getting to know the new you, the new version of you that is left over from the crumbling of the illusion, from the deterioration of the life that you once knew, you need to start to shape that person immediately, because the world does not stop for you or your loved one who's passed on. Your loved one didn't even stop for you. They traveled. They're gone on to bigger and better things. They have traveled. I know it hurts. I know it's hard to hear, but the more you say it out loud, the more I do this, the more it's like, yeah, they're gone. They're not in the flesh anymore. I can't selfishly go, pinch their arms, or ask them to make me something to eat, or give them a bunch of kisses and hugs, or um, hear them yelling my name as loud as they can. Like, oh my God, how I was imagining and envisioning my name, my dad yelling my name, envisioning him yelling my name as loud as he can, doing those big Brooklyn, New York claps, those big loud claps with his big northern accent, trying to out yell, out scream, out clap everybody. Yeah, I would have loved my ego. What? Let us stroke the heck out of my ego. But it didn't happen. And that's okay, because it happened in my head. I replayed my graduation over and over and over in my head, so that I, before and after, because I had to talk myself into going. And I told y'all in the last video, the dove is what sealed it for me. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. That's him telling me to go, so I'm gonna go. But I had to change my perspective. I shifted into a version of me that already went. I shifted into the version of me that was experiencing him being there, clapping as loud as he can, screaming my name, calling me Hollywood, telling me how beautiful I look, congratulating me, asking me, what do you want to do? Where you want to go? What you want? So can I make you? Can I make you something to eat? Like just different stuff like that. I'm definitely going to miss. I'm going to miss that giddy version of me that, existed, that spoiled giddy version of me that existed around him. Not to say that I won't be these things, but it's not going to be the same because he's not here. And that's fine because I'm not the same because he's not here. And that's fine. That shows you also the beauty in us being so interconnected with each other and how much we can basically shape and change each other's lives. That's the point. We come into each other's lives to change and shape them. Grief is natural. Grief is the only thing that indicates that there was something there other than, nothing indicates it. Like I could say like, oh yeah, he bought me this, right? What proof do we have that he bought me this? But if I'm emotionally moved by the loss of someone who probably bought everything around me or probably didn't have to buy anything around me, but they added so much to my life that I'm physically and emotionally moved without them physically being here. That is what grief is. That is love. Grief is just love misplaced. I have nowhere to put that. Thank you. Oh, I love you. What are you doing? How are you? How are you feeling? I have nowhere to put it. I'm like, oh. Or when I'm like, oh. That's where the grief hits you. When you're like, you know, a good example for me is making something to eat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder what I should put in here. And I'm like, oh, like I'm getting teary eyed thinking about that. Making something and then thinking about him and being like, damn, like it kind of, it hits you in such a way that's so like, it'll hit you like new again and again. And that's the part where I don't want to keep experiencing. I don't want it to keep hitting me new. I want to be very familiar with the fact that he's not here. I need to get familiar with the new me, the new version of me that is existing without his presence. Yeah. And that's point two. Point three, they did not leave you. They just stepped backstage. They aren't gone. Their frequency just changed forms and their role has shifted, but now they will show up in dreams, music, animals, deja vu, cinema, XYZ. You'll know when you know. Just keep an eye and an ear out for the signs. And I kind of explained that already earlier in the video, where that's basically how you're going to have to shift yourself to start listening for different ways of communication, listening differently. You're just gonna have to start listening differently, quite literally. It's not gonna be the same as getting the phone call like, "Hey, baby girl, what you doing?" Or "Can I get you something?" Da, 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 da. It'll come in the form of their whole name showing up on a commercial, or a license plate showing their birthday, or just different signs. I've seen all type of amazing examples already that I don't necessarily even want to share because I want to give you that luxury of having it kind of you gauging that for yourself, not because you heard someone say, oh, they saw a sign like this and then you go looking for that sign. No, I want you to look for that sign yourself or be able to decode it and get your own answer. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what that is. That is so strange. I love looking at the sky, but every time I look at the sky, I see some crazy stuff. I need to get a camera. But yeah, so what was I saying? Yes, be available, be open, be receptive to the signs. I could see a sign in the middle of the club. I have seen signs in the middle of the club. I can see a sign, in anywhere. It doesn't matter. I can see the signs anywhere. I'm available. I'm open. And say that. I don't really believe or not believe. I don't believe or not believe in um like affirmations or anything like that, but I do believe in something that Bashar recommend or references as permission slips in a way that it is you giving yourself permission to bring that in. It's kind of like accepting information from a conduit, because a conduit could be telling you something specifically that specifically aligns with your life, but if you don't allow that to be true, then it won't be true. So you just kind of have to be open in a way and give yourself permission slips. Like if you have a flame and you're like, if you're here, flicker the flame and flicker right, and then you'll see the flame flicker right, and then blase blase. Or if you're around a cat and you're like, oh my God, is that my grandma? And 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna lie, it might just be your grandma. I don't know. We don't know these things for sure. Actually, I do think we know them for sure, but we get taught we don't trust ourselves enough to know them for sure. So 9 times out of 10, it probably was your grandma. Go with your initial thought, but you probably taught yourself out of it, and she's probably just now acting like a regular cat, or probably not there anymore to be um for you to. I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but yeah. So just keep an eye out. Look for the signs. This is also your higher self trying to communicate with you and give you basically instructions that are tailored for you to maneuver throughout life, right? So it's your push me, pick me up, keep going. Whereas 9 times out of 10, to me, it might not look real. I'm gonna be like, oh, it's just a leaf. Where for you, that leaf could be your grandmother's favorite color, or it's a feather that came from a jacket that you've only seen in your grandmother's closet, randomly in the middle of the street in New York City, and you're from freaking Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Like it's a way of decoding and giving meaning to life where there is no meaning. Nothing means anything. Nothing means anything. Nothing means anything. This hair tie doesn't mean anything. But to some extent, this fabric was put together to become a hair tie so that it is meaningful as a hair tie. But even then, after they put meaning into it, it doesn't mean shit to me still because it's just a stupid hair tie. I have 120 of them. Oh, but this is a special hair tie. I gave it meaning because my dad or my brother or my boyfriend gave this to me. Blase, blase, XYZ. Give it meaning. Be open and receptive to things that will give you life. Give yourself life. Something be negative, but something can also be positive. You have free will. You have the choice to shift. You have the option to look at things from a different point of view or a different perspective so that you can make yourself feel better. I'm not talking about stroking your ego. I'm talking about driving your ego. I'm talking about you becoming in charge. I'm talking about you taking the will, you tapping into what would Jesus do in taking the will, not just waiting on Jesus to take the will. You take the will, but tap into that high vibe, high frequency version of you that matches that frequency of Jesus and take the will. To close out, I'm just going to say basically, like, if your heart's heavy, if you're feeling a certain way that is very if you're feeling a way that is very heavy and very lowly or very lonely, even or sad or painful, even happy, ecstatic, excited, sit with it. Sit with it. Just like you sit with your highest excitement or sit with something that makes you happy, sit with that which makes you sad and what makes you upset and understand it and decode it from there and break it down there. Don't let it build and build momentum and become this big structure. Break it down there. Nip that in the bud, but sit with it so you understand what it is and so that you know how to maneuver life from here on. If you needed to hear this, I hope it brought some softness to your grief. Just a gentle reminder that you are not alone and neither are they. May the force be with us. Okay, bye.